Hey there guys, we're back talking about scapular stability and how it influences our ribs. So ultimately, as we start to get our ribs moving, right, with all the mobility drills that we've been covering over the last little bit, right, if we create a lot of mobility, that's fine and dandy, but if there's mobility without stability, we're still going to end up with most of the issues that we deal with, whether that's pain, discomfort, not necessarily having the greatest performance out of our ribs, right? Out of our respiration, right? So creating stability on our shoulder, right? Using the shoulder musculature to start to create some stability for those ribs creates a much better paradigm for us as we kind of move forward. So if I'm at the computer working at home, or I'm in the gym working out, right? I can create some stability in those ribs and not have that excessive mobility lead to some of our issues that can sometimes happen, whether that's pain or discomfort. So what I'm gonna do is, this is just a simple scapular retraction drill, right? We're gonna show a number of different ways to go through this, but we're first gonna start off with just a hang, because we can get some stretch in the lats and we can also get some activation in our shoulders. So arms are just gonna go just about shoulder width, maybe a little wider. And what I'm gonna think about is, I'm gonna think about taking my shoulders and pulling them down into my back pockets. And what that does is that creates a lot of tension in the bottoms of my arms, right? Coming down into those lats. Might feel a little grip strain going on. If need be, right, you can totally get some pad on the bar or anything like that. Or if you're having issues with that, we're going to show you other ways to kind of move that shoulder blade. But grabbing on, we're going to pull down and relax. I don't want my shoulders to come all the way into my ears, right? I want to pull them down, 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 down. One more time from the back. We'll come here. If I'm fully relaxed here, fully activated, I want to be able to go through those differences. That's a real simple drill. Let's talk about the next one. Okay, for this next variation, we're going to be using the box here just because we're in the gym and we have it. You can totally do this with your couch, with your bed at home. It needs to be fairly stable because we're going to have our feet up on it. But here's what we're going to be doing, okay? I want to basically think of myself being in a push-up position, right? So my feet are up on whatever it is. I can even do this with my knees if I need a little bit more help with this. But the idea is, just like how we were arms overhead here, I want to be down, and instead of pulling down, I want to be thinking about pushing up. The more vertical I can get, the better. And that's where the beauty of the box can come in, because I can flip it all sorts of different ways to make sure that I'm getting the appropriate height. What I really want to be focusing on, though, is as I pull my shoulders up, I don't want to be thinking about squeezing my ears, right? That's just pure trap activation without creating stability at the shoulder blade. So instead of here, I'm pushing up. Up versus squeezing the neck. So that's a great alternate. Now, it's not necessarily working the exact same motions as the hang, so I would definitely recommend doing both of them, but one may be a little more available to you at one point versus another, right? You may be at home and you may not have something to kind of reach up and grab, and you may need to just do some shoulder mobility, some scapular stability work using the bed or the couch or anything like that. Definitely working on both of those. The last that we would work into, so we worked a pulling down motion with the shoulder blade, a pushing up motion with the shoulder blade. Now I want to work on forward and back, right? Scapular protraction and retraction. The simplest way to do that is just with a simple push-up plus. So So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna be here in this push-up position, right? The idea is we don't want to be doing necessarily the full push-up, right? And sure, right, in the actual push-up position, we don't want to be doing a full push-up. All I'm worried about is the last bit of the motion, right? Using that shoulder blade to get as much as we can out of it. So I'm here in the push-up position. I can think about my shoulders falling back and away while keeping strong. I'm not just falling loosey-goosey through my shoulders. We're nice and strong. We allow some fall, some length in those shoulder muscles, and then I'm going to contract and push up and away. Up and away, relax. Up and away, relax. Up and away, relax. Right? Using that motion, right, we are working the front and back motion of the shoulder, and then with the bar and the other move that we just did, we're working shoulder elevation and depression. So working all four of those directions, right, are gonna be key to mobilizing and keeping those ribs stable, right? Because instead of then having to pull off of the rib cage, right, torquing from my spine and getting those muscles that attach on those ribs to activate, right, I'm creating more movement capacity at my shoulder blade, which then will allow those ribs to just be ribs and not be a very active player during our movement. So go ahead and play around with those movements. I would say for each of them, they're pretty strong, right? If we're actually doing them, I would recommend 2 to 3 sets a day of about 5 to 10 reps, right? And that doesn't mean that I have to hit all 4 2 to 3 times a day for 10 reps, right? Maybe in the morning, because what's available for me, I do my push-up plus, and that's it. And then when I get to the gym later, or I get to some place where I can get onto a bar, I do 5 to 10 there, right? Just getting activation throughout the day in a very holistic, rounded manner is gonna do wonders for your shoulders and your ribs, okay? So play around with that, and we'll see you in the next one.